Hello and welcome to the Owl's Nest. Tonight, we explore the fascinating world of emotional intelligence as we uncover 50 gentle, evidence-based facts about the emotions that shape our thoughts, relationships, and everyday lives. Why do some people remain calm under pressure, while others become overwhelmed? How do our emotions influence the decisions we make, the connections we build, and the way we experience the world around us? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage both our own emotions and the emotions of others. Through decades of psychological research, we've learned that this skill plays a powerful role in reducing stress, strengthening relationships, improving communication, and supporting overall well-being. Tonight, we'll journey through 50 carefully selected facts, presented slowly and peacefully. As you listen, allow yourself to relax, quiet your mind, and simply let each idea drift by at its own gentle pace. If you enjoy calming explorations of psychology, philosophy, and the human mind, consider subscribing to The Owl's Nest. Here, we create peaceful audio journeys designed to help you learn, unwind, and gently drift into restful sleep. If you find comfort or value in tonight's journey, leaving a like helps support the channel and allows us to continue creating more relaxing content for you. Now, settle in, get comfortable. Take one slow, gentle breath in, and let it go completely. Whenever you're ready, let your eyes close, and we'll begin. Part 1. The Foundations of Emotional Intelligence. Fact 1. Emotional intelligence is generally described through 4 core components: self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, and relationship management. This framework exists because these 4 areas capture the full loop of emotional life, from recognizing a feeling internally to managing it well within a relationship with someone else. Someone strong in only one of these areas, like self-awareness without the others, might understand their own feelings clearly, yet still struggle to manage them or connect well with other people. Fact 2. Emotional intelligence predicts outcomes like job performance and relationship satisfaction sometimes as strongly as, or more strongly than, cognitive intelligence alone. This happens because many real-world situations depend heavily on managing emotion and navigating relationships well, skills that raw cognitive ability alone doesn't fully cover. 2 equally skilled professionals can have very different career outcomes, often explained partly by differences in how well each manages stress, feedback, and workplace relationships. Fact 3. Unlike some other traits, emotional intelligence can be meaningfully developed and strengthened through deliberate practice. This happens because emotional skills, like most other skills, respond to repetition and feedback, gradually becoming more automatic with consistent effort. Someone who consciously practices staying calm during disagreements often becomes noticeably better at it over time, even if it felt difficult at first. Fact 4. The modern concept of emotional intelligence became widely known in the 1990s, though earlier psychological research had already been exploring similar ideas for decades. This happens because researchers had long studied related concepts, like social intelligence, before the term emotional intelligence brought these ideas together into a single, popular framework. This is part of why the underlying science behind emotional intelligence draws on a much longer research history than the popular term itself might suggest. Fact 5. Higher emotional intelligence is consistently linked with stronger leadership effectiveness. This happens because effective leadership relies heavily on reading people accurately, managing one's own reactions under pressure, and building genuine trust. A leader who stays composed and empathetic during a crisis often earns more lasting trust from their team than one who reacts purely from stress or frustration. Fact 6. Higher emotional intelligence is associated with lower overall stress and better physical health outcomes. This happens because effectively managing emotional reactions reduces the physiological toll that prolonged, poorly regulated stress otherwise takes on the body. Less lingering physical tension than someone who regularly suppresses or bottles up the same feeling. Fact 7. Emotional intelligence is not the same thing as being naturally outgoing or extroverted. This happens because emotional intelligence concerns the quality of emotional understanding and management, not how much someone naturally seeks out social interaction. A quiet, reserved person can be highly emotionally intelligent, while an outwardly sociable person may still struggle significantly with self-regulation or empathy. Fact 8. Both inherited temperament and life experience play a role in shaping emotional intelligence. This happens because some baseline emotional reactivity appears influenced by biology, while upbringing, culture, and practice significantly shape how that reactivity is ultimately expressed and managed. Two siblings raised in the same household can develop noticeably different emotional skills, shaped by their individual temperaments and distinct experiences growing up. Fact 9. Emotional intelligence includes accurately recognizing emotion in other people, not only within oneself. This happens because understanding your own feelings alone isn't enough to navigate relationships well. Reading others accurately is an equally essential part of the same overall skill. Someone who notices a friend's subtle change in tone and gently checks in is drawing on this same outward-facing half of emotional intelligence. Fact 10. Some researchers describe emotional intelligence through 4 specific abilities: perceiving emotion accurately, using emotion to support thinking, understanding emotional causes, and managing emotional responses effectively. This more detailed model exists because it breaks the broader concept down into distinct, testable skills, rather than treating emotional intelligence as one single, undivided trait. Someone might excel at perceiving emotion in others, yet still struggle specifically with managing their own emotional reactions, revealing these as genuinely separate underlying skills. Part 2. Self-awareness. Fact 11. Self-awareness begins with recognizing what you're actually feeling in the moment it arises, rather than only understanding it well after the fact. This happens because emotions often influence behavior before they're consciously identified, so catching a feeling early allows for a more deliberate, chosen response. Someone who notices rising irritation the moment it begins has a genuine chance to pause, while someone who only recognizes it afterward has already acted on it. Fact 12. Regular journaling can meaningfully improve emotional self-awareness by making recurring patterns visible over time. This happens because writing about daily emotional experiences creates a record that reveals trends a person might otherwise never consciously notice. Someone who journals for a few weeks might discover a specific recurring trigger for frustration that had gone completely unnoticed in the moment, day after day. Fact 13. Physical sensations in the body often signal an emotional shift before conscious thought fully catches up. This happens because the body's stress response activates rapidly, often faster than the slower, more deliberate process of consciously labeling a feeling. A tightening in the chest or a clenched jaw sometimes arrives before someone consciously realizes they're feeling anxious or upset. Fact 14. People with lower self-awareness sometimes misinterpret their own bodily signals as something entirely unrelated. This happens because certain physical sensations, like a racing heart, can result from several different causes, and without careful attention, the wrong explanation is easily assumed. Someone feeling anxious before a big event might mistakenly interpret the physical sensation as simple hunger or fatigue, missing the actual emotional cause underneath. Fact 15. Self-awareness includes understanding your own specific emotional triggers, the particular situations that reliably provoke a strong reaction. This happens because recognizing a personal pattern in advance allows for preparation, rather than being repeatedly caught off guard by the same predictable trigger. Someone who knows that receiving unexpected criticism tends to trigger defensiveness can consciously prepare a calmer response the next time it happens. Fact 16. Regular mindfulness practice measurably improves emotional self-awareness over time. This happens because mindfulness strengthens the habit of noticing internal experience without immediately reacting to it, building a clearer, calmer view of one's own emotional state. People who practice mindfulness consistently often report noticing emotional shifts earlier and more clearly than they did before beginning the practice. Fact 17. Many people struggle to distinguish between closely related emotions, like frustration and disappointment, without deliberate practice. This happens because these emotions can feel physically similar in the body, even though they arise from meaningfully different underlying causes. Someone might label an entire day as simply bad, when a closer look would reveal a specific mix of disappointment, fatigue, and mild frustration, each calling for a different response. Fact 18. Honest feedback from trusted others often reveals emotional blind spots a person can't easily see on their own. This happens because self-perception is naturally limited. An outside perspective can highlight patterns that feel invisible from the inside. Someone might be genuinely surprised to learn that they come across as impatient under stress, a pattern obvious to others, but entirely unnoticed by themselves. Fact 19. Strong self-awareness is linked with better overall decision-making. This happens because unrecognized emotion can quietly bias a decision without a person realizing it, while clearly identified emotion can be factored in deliberately, rather than acting invisibly in the background. Someone aware that they're deciding while frustrated can consciously choose to wait, rather than risk a decision unknowingly skewed by that frustration. Fact 20. A larger emotional vocabulary is linked with a stronger ability to regulate emotion effectively. This happens because precisely naming a feeling, rather than defaulting to a vague label like bad, allows for a more targeted, appropriate response to it. Someone who can distinguish between feeling overwhelmed and feeling resentful is better equipped to address the actual underlying cause than someone who only has one broad label for both. Part 3. Self-regulation. Fact 21. Self-regulation involves managing how emotion is expressed appropriately for the situation, rather than suppressing or hiding feeling altogether. This happens because completely suppressing emotion tends to be unsustainable and unhealthy over time, while thoughtful, appropriate expression allows a feeling to be honored without becoming disruptive. Someone feeling genuinely frustrated in a meeting might calmly name the frustration directly, rather than either exploding or pretending the feeling isn't there at all. Fact 22. A brief pause before reacting measurably improves the quality of an emotional response. This happens because a short pause allows more deliberate, reflective thinking to engage, rather than acting purely from an immediate, automatic emotional impulse. Someone who takes even a few slow breaths before responding to an upsetting message typically crafts a calmer, more thoughtful reply than someone who responds instantly. Fact 23. A brain region called the prefrontal cortex plays a central role in regulating emotional impulses. This happens because this region is involved in planning, judgment, and impulse control, allowing it to moderate more automatic emotional signals arising from deeper brain structures. Under extreme stress or fatigue, this regulating function can weaken, which is part of why emotional control often feels harder during particularly difficult or exhausting periods. Fact 24. Chronic, prolonged stress gradually impairs the brain's capacity for effective emotional regulation. This happens because sustained stress affects the same brain regions responsible for regulation, weakening their function the longer that stress continues without relief. Someone under prolonged work pressure often finds themselves reacting more intensely to small frustrations than they normally would during calmer, less stressful periods. Fact 25. Reappraisal, or consciously reframing how a situation is interpreted, is one of the most effective emotional regulation strategies studied. This happens because the interpretation placed on an event shapes the emotional response to it, often more than the raw event itself. Reframing a stressful presentation as a chance to share something I care about, rather than a threat of failure, measurably reduces the anxiety experienced beforehand. Fact 26. Consistently suppressing emotional expression tends to increase overall stress rather than relieve it. This happens because suppressed emotion doesn't actually disappear. It continues quietly requiring mental effort to hold down, adding to overall internal strain. Someone who regularly hides frustration at work often finds it resurfacing more intensely elsewhere, sometimes in an unrelated situation entirely. Fact 27. Emotional regulation skills tend to improve gradually with age and accumulated life experience. This happens partly through years of practice managing difficult feelings, and partly through gradual maturation in the brain regions responsible for regulation. Many people notice they handle setbacks with more composure in their 40s than they did in their 20s, despite facing comparably difficult circumstances. Fact 28. Regular physical exercise supports stronger emotional regulation. This happens because exercise helps regulate stress hormones and supports the brain systems involved in mood and impulse control. Someone who exercises consistently often reports noticeably more patience and composure during stressful days compared to periods when exercise has lapsed. Fact 29. Sleep deprivation significantly impairs the brain's capacity for effective emotional regulation. This happens because insufficient sleep weakens the same prefrontal regions responsible for moderating emotional reactivity, leaving reactions less filtered and more intense. A minor frustration that would normally pass quickly can feel disproportionately overwhelming after a night of poor sleep. Fact 30. Strong emotional regulation doesn't mean never experiencing difficult emotion. It means recovering from it more quickly. This happens because the goal of regulation was never to eliminate feeling entirely, but rather to shorten the time and reduce the disruption and intense feeling causes. Someone with strong regulation skills might still feel a flash of anger, but return to calm within minutes, rather than carrying the reaction for the rest of the day. Part 4. Empathy and social awareness. Fact 31. Empathy generally involves two related components: cognitively understanding another person's perspective and emotionally sharing something of what they feel. This happens because fully empathizing with someone requires both grasping their situation intellectually and genuinely resonating with the feeling behind it, not simply one or the other. Someone might intellectually understand a friend's stress without feeling much of it themselves, while true empathy involves both dimensions working together. Fact 32. Active listening is a learnable skill that measurably strengthens empathic connection. This happens because fully attending to someone, rather than simply waiting for your own turn to speak, allows their actual experience to be understood more accurately. Reflecting back what someone has said in your own words before responding often makes them feel genuinely heard in a way that quick, immediate advice usually doesn't. Fact 33. Empathy is not applied equally to everyone at all times, even by people who are generally quite empathic. This happens because attention and emotional resources are limited, and empathy tends to be shaped by closeness, familiarity, and current emotional capacity. Someone can feel deep empathy for a close friend's struggle while barely registering a similar struggle in a stranger passing by, without this being inconsistent or unusual. Fact 34. Reading non-verbal cues, like tone of voice and body language, forms a major part of accurate social awareness. This happens because a significant portion of emotional communication happens outside of spoken words, through tone, posture, and facial expression instead. A flat, quiet "I'm fine" delivered with tense shoulders and averted eyes often communicates something quite different than the words alone suggest. Fact 35. The accuracy of reading other people's emotions can improve meaningfully with practice and attention, not only through innate natural ability. This happens because deliberately paying closer attention to expressions and tone builds a stronger, more finely tuned sense of what different emotional signals actually mean. Someone who practices consciously observing others' expressions over time often becomes noticeably more accurate at recognizing subtle emotional cues than they once were. Fact 36. Compassion fatigue can develop when ongoing empathy toward others isn't balanced with adequate self-care. This happens because sustained emotional engagement with others' difficulties without sufficient personal recovery gradually depletes emotional resources over time. Caregivers and helping professionals are especially prone to this pattern, often needing deliberate rest and support to sustain their empathy long term. Fact 37. Deliberate perspective-taking exercises measurably increase empathic response toward others. This happens because actively imagining another person's specific situation engages the same mental processes involved in genuine empathic understanding. Simply pausing to imagine a difficult co-worker's possible circumstances, rather than immediately judging their behavior, often shifts the emotional response toward more genuine understanding. Fact 38. Cultural context significantly shapes how emotions are typically expressed and interpreted. This happens because different cultures carry different norms around emotional display, meaning the same underlying feeling can look quite different depending on cultural background. A calm, understated reaction to good news might reflect genuine excitement in one cultural context, while appearing muted or unenthusiastic in another. Fact 39. Higher empathy is consistently linked with greater pro-social behavior, like helping and cooperating with others. This happens because genuinely understanding another person's need or distress naturally increases motivation to help address it. People who score higher on measures of empathy are, on average, more likely to offer help in situations where assistance clearly isn't required of them. Fact 40. Empathy differs meaningfully from sympathy, since empathy involves genuinely sharing another's perspective, rather than simply feeling sorry for them from a distance. This happens because sympathy maintains a degree of separation between observer and person suffering, while empathy involves a more direct, shared emotional connection to the experience. Saying, "That sounds incredibly difficult. I can imagine how overwhelming that feels," reflects empathy, while "that's too bad" reflects more distant sympathy instead. Part 5. Relationships and Everyday Application. Fact 41. Emotionally intelligent communication measurably reduces how quickly conflict escalates in relationships. This happens because calmly naming a feeling rather than reacting purely from it keeps a disagreement focused on the actual issue rather than spiraling into a broader emotional clash. Saying, "I feel overlooked" when that happens tends to de-escalate a conflict more effectively than an accusatory statement delivered in the heat of frustration. Fact 42. Actively repairing a relationship after conflict tends to strengthen it more than simply avoiding conflict altogether. This happens because thoughtful repair demonstrates genuine care and commitment, often deepening trust beyond where it stood even before the disagreement occurred. A sincere conversation addressing what went wrong after an argument often leaves a relationship feeling more secure than pretending the disagreement never happened at all. Fact 43. Emotional intelligence supports stronger teamwork and collaboration within workplace settings. This happens because effective collaboration depends heavily on reading colleagues accurately, managing personal reactions under pressure, and communicating with genuine clarity and care. Teams with higher average emotional intelligence often report smoother collaboration and fewer unresolved interpersonal tensions than teams scoring lower on the same measures. Fact 44. Giving and receiving feedback well requires both strong emotional regulation and genuine empathy. This happens because delivering feedback constructively requires managing your own reaction, while receiving it well requires managing defensiveness long enough to actually hear the message. Feedback delivered with genuine care and received with an open, regulated mindset tends to produce far better outcomes than feedback delivered or received purely defensively. Fact 45. Safer environments for the teams they lead. This happens because a leader who manages their own reactions well and responds to others with genuine empathy makes it easier for team members to speak honestly, without fear. Teams led by emotionally intelligent leaders often report feeling more comfortable raising concerns or mistakes early, before they grow into larger problems. Fact 46. Higher emotional intelligence is associated with more stable, satisfying long-term relationships. This happens because navigating the inevitable friction of a long-term relationship depends heavily on the same core skills: self-regulation, empathy, and clear communication. Couples who communicate emotions clearly and manage conflict constructively generally report higher relationship satisfaction over many years than couples who struggle with these same skills. Fact 47. Emotional intelligence can be actively taught to children, with benefits that tend to last well into adulthood. This happens because emotional skills, like naming feelings and managing frustration, can be practiced and reinforced from an early age, much like any other learnable skill. Children who receive structured social emotional learning tend to show better emotional regulation and social skills years later, compared to children who didn't receive similar instruction. Fact 48. Adults modeling calm emotional regulation is one of the most effective ways children learn these same skills themselves. This happens because children learn emotional behavior largely through observation, absorbing patterns from the adults around them far more than from direct instruction alone. A parent who calmly names their own frustration rather than reacting explosively quietly teaches a child a healthier template for handling the exact same feeling. Fact 49. Emotional intelligence supports resilience by helping people process setbacks constructively rather than becoming overwhelmed by them. This happens because accurately understanding and regulating difficult emotion allows a person to keep functioning and problem solving, even while still processing genuine disappointment or loss. Someone with strong emotional skills tends to acknowledge a setback honestly, feel the disappointment fully, and still begin planning a next step relatively soon afterward. Fact 50. Building emotional intelligence is best understood as an ongoing, lifelong process, rather than a fixed skill reached once and then complete. This happens because emotional understanding continues to deepen with new experiences, relationships, and challenges throughout a person's entire life. Even people widely regarded as emotionally skilled continue to encounter new situations that stretch and refine their emotional understanding well into later life. And with that thought, gently, we come to the end of tonight's 50 Facts. There's nothing here you need to hold on to or remember. Just let all 50 of these settle quietly, somewhere in the background of your mind, the way tonight's thoughts are folding into stillness. The narration is finished now, but the binaural tones underneath will keep playing quietly for a while longer. There's nothing you need to do. Simply let them continue in the background, guiding you gently the rest of the way into deep, restful sleep, long after these words have ended. If you found this journey relaxing, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.